Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to focus on how to get better lobbies in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. And just as a heads up, there are at least 5 different ways to actually improve your lobbies. And there's actually a few different reasons why I wanted to make this specific video. And one of the main reasons is that on pretty much every video I post, there's always at least one person saying, man, I could have done that if I had that lobby. I wish I had that lobby, or something along those lines, in kind of a negative way. And in one of my recent videos called Are Call of Duty YouTubers Cheating?, I got that comment a lot as well. So I thought I'd try to give you guys as much information as possible on how YouTubers typically get really good lobbies. So just a reminder, if you do enjoy the content in any way or find it helpful, please remember to hit that like button because that does allow the video to get seen by more people. Also, if there's any tips you think I may have missed, go ahead and make sure you leave those down in the comment section below. I also want to take a quick second to thank everyone who's been subscribing to the channel, because we've been able to move the needle on people that are not subscribed to the channel but continue to watch on a regular basis from about 90% a few months back down to 80, down to 70, and now we're sitting at 67.3% not subscribed. So I definitely appreciate that support. Ideally, I want to get this number as close to 50% as possible. So if you're part of this 67.3% that is currently not subscribed and you want to find your way back to the channel and improve at Call of Duty, make sure you hit that red subscribe button, turning it to gray, and ring that bell so you'll get notifications every time I post a video. So what we're going to do is look at an hour-long recording session where I pretty much just hit record and I'm chopping it down to hit my key elements and get those special points across on how you can get those better lobbies for yourself as well. So the first thing I went ahead and did is join the TDM mode, and then I hit join match and I waited for it to queue up. Threw me in a match in progress. The team that I ended up getting spawned on happened to be the winning team, which almost never happens. And then I just decided to stick around and see what the lobby was all about. A lot of times that's what you got to do when you join a brand new lobby. Kind of fill it out. It's not really about prestiges. It's really about how people play the match. And that's the people on your team and also on the enemy team. So I'm going to end up skipping to the end of this match so we can actually go through the lobby shopping process, which is the primary tool a lot of YouTubers are going to use. And in general, you should be using on your own, especially if you're going to be playing solo. So I ended up having to leave that specific lobby, not because anyone in particular was good, but because someone had a racist emblem. And if you're going to post YouTube videos, you got to be aware of those types of things. There are just certain emblems you cannot have in your videos. So then you go ahead and queue up, and there's different things you're looking for. For me personally, I want to go ahead and see what the map is. Personally, if it's going to be one of the DLC maps that I do not like, I'm just going to completely avoid the map, because overall I'm not going to enjoy the map. It's probably going to play slow. Artifact is one of those maps, so I don't even look at the lobby. I don't get a chance for it to fill in. Could have been a God lobby. I don't even know, because I don't care. I don't want to play that specific map. So the next thing personally I'm going to look for is to see if players are in parties. If people are in parties of 2, not a really big deal. But if they start getting in parties of 3 or 4, I'm going to avoid those. And the primary reason for that is because how the lobby balancing works. Because if you have a team of 4 and there's only 12 people in the lobby, and let's say 5 of them are bad, they can't put all 5 bad players on the enemy team. They'll probably take 2 bad players and I'll get stuck with the remaining 5, which creates a very big imbalance where it's basically a 1 versus 4. And more often than not, the enemy team will start to streak up on your teammates, and then they'll start ending your streaks. They start doing call outs. So it just makes it significantly imbalanced when you're actually just trying to play the mode as a solo player. So what you're going to see right here is eventually I get thrown into a lobby where everyone in that lobby is playing solo, because on the right hand side, you can see there's not those little white bars, which indicate people are playing in a party of 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 6. And the reason why I say this is a best case scenario, because 9 times out of 10, what will happen is I'll start calling in my streaks, and anyone that is good in the lobby will start to vacate the lobby. So this was the lobby shopping part. There's obviously more to it, which I'm going to talk about. So obviously I've already completed the first step, which is just to get into a lobby. Now that I'm in the lobby, I got to assess the other players and see how they play. And it's not an ego thing, but typically I'm going to be the best player in the lobby. So if everyone queues in solo and the game does an okay job of balancing out the teams, I should have nothing to worry about. But what I soon found out is someone on the enemy team was running a fire shotgun, and somebody else liked to camp with Torque for their streaks. So overall, not too bad. You can see right here, I ended up going 32 and 11 for this random lobby. Didn't really know what was going on. You can see the Torque camper on the top right, and we'll go ahead and see them in the next match. I was hoping they would leave, because typically that's what happens. And the main reason for that is because if a player is used to doing well on a regular basis, if they're getting contested in any kind of way, they'll leave to try and find another lobby where they can do that, because that's how they have fun. So unfortunately, that first attempt didn't work, so the guy is sticking around in this match. So I decided to use Zero, because I know they're going to be using that Torque barricade. I'm going to be able to throw those EMPs for the barbed wires, and I'm going to be able to hack the barricade so that they're not able to just camp behind it. So in my head, I'm thinking that this guy's got to leave, because I end up going 33 and 11. They barely go positive, and a lot of times if someone's used to going 2, 3 KD and they barely go positive, they're typically going to leave that lobby and go for another one. Then once we got back to the regular lobby, someone was asking if I was the real JGOD, and a lot of times that's my cue to leave the lobby, because once someone knows you're a YouTuber, they're going to go out of their way to try and kill you in every possible way, instead of just playing the match organically. So I queue up again, you're going to see I get thrown in with a bunch of people that everyone is in a party. So that's definitely a no. I don't know if I'm going to end up with the good players, the bad players. It doesn't really matter at that point because people are going to be coordinating. I queue up again and then it throws me in a match in progress. And just like the first match, I decide whether or not I want to stay in the lobby. I go ahead and check the score real quick. I see that it's 89 to 27 and I leave before I even get a death. So there's actually a few different reasons why I leave that lobby. Number one is obviously the team is getting smacked. All the enemy team has all their streaks already in the air going in. So a lot of my deaths will be a result of streaks that were earned while I wasn't even in the lobby. And the other problem is there's not enough kills to go around. Even if I got every single kill in that lobby, which is highly unlikely, I'd still only end up with about 30 kills, which is really not enough to make a gameplay video about. So when I queue up again, it's another match in progress, but this one I'm actually going to stick around for, and you'll see how it ends up playing out. Obviously, I couldn't see who was in the lobby, but as the lobby starts, I find out really quickly that no one in this lobby is particularly good. Some people are using a little bit of annoying weapons. Maybe they're using the Auger DMR, maybe some guy is sniping. For the most part, those things tend to weed themselves out. So now let's go ahead and talk about a few other factors that contribute to actually having very good lobbies. So one of the biggest issues that I think a lot of times people don't realize is the time of day that you actually play really matters. If you're playing in the early morning hours versus afternoon versus evening, on the weekdays versus the weekend, you're going to end up matchmaking up against different people. For example, if I play in the middle of the night, since I'm on the West Coast, a lot of times it's going to throw me into Japanese lobbies. And if you're on the East Coast, a lot of times if you're playing during those same hours, it's going to throw you into European lobbies. So that's definitely something I recommend you experiment with so you can see which time of the day gives you the best possible connection. And not necessarily for advantage or disadvantage, but it's so you get consistency in your gunfights. A lot of times where you'll get inconsistency is when you have higher ping. And since Call of Duty uses lag compensation, what that'll do is make it so your gunfights are very inconsistent with that high ping, because sometimes it'll feel like you're insta-melting, sometimes it'll feel like people are eating bullets, and vice versa. Sometimes it'll feel like you can eat bullets, and sometimes it'll feel like you're insta-melting. So the better that connection can be, the more consistent your gunfights will be on a regular basis. So we still have a few more tips to go through. A couple simple ones are to play in a party. For the obvious reasons, if someone else is lobby shopping, they're going to see a party of two, and they'll go ahead and avoid you. On top of that, which is a little late now, is you do not want to ever buy the DLC because they don't allow you to disable the DLC. So you get match made with the more serious Call of Duty players. So if you see anyone playing the DLC maps, they're typically going to have a little bit harder lobbies in general, because those are the more hardcore, die-hard Call of Duty fans. Regardless if those players are good or not, a lot of them play Call of Duty on a more regular basis. And overall, I feel like the difference is fairly noticeable. If you ever play on one of those DLC weekends where they're just giving away the DLC for free so everyone could try it out and encourage people to buy the Black Ops Pass, you'll notice that the connections are better, which lead to more consistent gunfights, but also the player base is larger, so you're going to run into more newbie players. So in terms of mode choice, you pretty much have two different options. One is the featured playlist, because in the featured playlist, more newbie players just choose that. They don't go through the hassle of actually changing the mode. I think a lot of new players, they just queue up, find match. They're not really looking to change it up. They just play whatever the featured is. And the second option is Team Deathmatch. And the reason Team Deathmatch is because a lot of times parties won't gravitate towards that mode because, like I said earlier, there's not a lot of kills to go around. So overall, that is a safe mode and is the #1 most popular mode in Call of Duty history in every single Call of Duty. So as far as modes go, those are your best two options. So I'm ended up staying in this match. You're going to see how it plays out. I went 27-8 this first match. I had a 3.38 EKA ratio, and I'm going to continue to improve on this over time, because I slowly make this lobby my own. So in case you guys didn't know or are new to the channel, I've actually done some gameplay breakdowns of the Korean Savage and Swag XBL. They basically sent me some gameplay so I could use for a gameplay breakdown and kind of explain how they play the game and what makes them so good. And within those videos, I actually got a lot of comments of people complaining and saying that they're not actually that good of players and they just get really good lobbies. And before I actually started getting a lot better at Call of Duty, I probably would have agreed with you. So in the 3 matches that I've shown off so far, you can see that my EKIA was between 2 and 4 for all of those matches. And even though those are above average gameplays, I wouldn't put them in any of my videos. So now that we've gone through that, let's go ahead and take a couple screenshots of the scoreboard from both K3 and Swag's most recent videos. So that white number next to their rank is their EKI ratio for Team Deathmatch. You can see I went one by one and put down their EKI ratio, and you can see that he has 2 members of his team with a little bit over 1, and you can see that these people on the bottom of the scoreboard on the enemy team, they were just added to the lobby. They have no score, and a few people in the middle of that lobby also have very low score. So odds are they spawned into the match late, and they're obviously able to spawn in late because the other people that were already in the lobby decided to leave once it started going south. And those are just some of the signs of them taking over the lobby. And if you take over the lobby long enough, what you end up with is a lobby full of everyone that has a little bit lower EKI ratios, which make the lobbies even easier as you play. And right here you can see everyone in the lobby has a below 1 EKIA, except for obviously the Korean Savage. And this is just what happens as you play over time. Obviously I've joined a brand new lobby that I feel good about, and as I start to take over this lobby, over time the KDs of the players will slowly drop off. And if you end up with a good lobby like that, what will end up happening is in the next match you'll just switch to another weapon, get a different gameplay. Next match, if they stay around, you're going to go ahead and switch to a different weapon, get another gameplay, and then over time you will have all these different gameplays they could put out on a daily basis. So one day it might be the Maddox, next one's going to be the Hades, the next one will be the Stingray because you happen to use the Stingray, and you're going to save those clips and they're going to look like you're getting these lobbies all the time, but you may have gotten all those gameplays within one sitting. And pretty much once you get one of these lobbies, you're going to stay there as long as you possibly can, and what will eventually happen is enough people will leave, or maybe a party or 2 or 3 join where they're super sweaty and they just kind of ruin the entire flow, and then you decide to stop playing or maybe go through the process all over again. So a perfect example of taking over a lobby is Swag's recent video. You can see right here, at the start of the match, everything looks fairly balanced. There's 2 players on each team that are a little bit below average in terms of EKI ratio. So most of you would probably say that that is not a great lobby, but at the end of the match, he ends up going 94-1. You can see how many players were left over. He essentially took over the lobby. So this is the exact same match. You can see there's only one guy with a positive EKI ratio on the enemy team. And the main reason for that is because 4 people left the lobby on the enemy team and they were backfilled by random players. And odds are they're going to be lower skilled players because they decided to stick around while the team was getting smacked. A lot of times, like myself, if I'm joining this match, see a ton of streaks called in, I'm not going to stay. Someone who eventually stays is probably a lower skilled player, and this is how you end up with a lobby like that. So you can see how that changed. It went from about 8 people in the lobby that had a positive EKI ratio down to about 5. And pretty much if everyone stays in this lobby, the same exact thing will happen all over again, and it'll end up with fewer and fewer people that have positive EKI ratios in the lobby until he is the lone player with a positive EKI ratio. So I know you'd love to think there's more to it than that, but at the end of the day, good players will find easier lobbies because they're able to take over the lobby and make it their own. So at the end of the day, if you're really looking for the easiest lobbies possible, you just have to get better at the game, and progressively the lobbies just get easier over time. And personally, I think a big Twitch streamer by the name of Nick Merck says it best: if you can't find the potatoes, you're probably the potato. So in the next 2 matches, I proceeded to continue to take over the lobby. In this first match, I ended up going 35-7, followed up by a 41-4 gameplay. And if I didn't eventually decide to leave the lobby, I could have continued getting good gameplays. And that's pretty much how it works. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please remember to hit that like button. If you're brand new to the channel or you'd like to find your way back because you're looking to improve, please make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications on. I do appreciate all the support on the channel. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.